I don't even got to tell y'all what we're going to talk about today. You guys might as well go ahead and strap up. It's going to be a fun ride. You guys know what we're talking about today. Let's go ahead and get into it.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I just want to let everybody know the only reason why we're not getting straight into it and screaming is because I have to do an intro. I have to be professional somewhat for the podcast. So, what's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Pistons podcast. Kuka Hill here. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on our podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, now I can get back to what I really want to do. Let me go ahead and turn the mic up just a tad. Let me go ahead and get right back to what I want to do. Killian Hayes. What did I tell y'all? You guys made fun of me. You guys were in the comments. You guys have destroyed this kid. You guys have done nothing. And let me not say you guys, not everybody, but a lot of you guys, I'd say majority of the Detroit fan base destroyed this kid. Gave up on him. Said he was a bust. It was over. Everything, you were done with him. 21 years old. Not even 2 seasons worth of games into it. You guys called him a bust. You guys said it was over. 10 games into the season. It was done for him. It was done for him. The last 3 weeks, he's been a completely different player. Last 3 weeks, he's completely turned his career around. Completely turned his season around. Has played great basketball. Great basketball. And tonight, he had the game of his career. The game where you'll go back and say, this is what turned his season around. This is what turned his career around. The Killian Hayes game, December 1st, 2022. Killian Hayes game happened against the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic, who he sent home back to Dallas in the fourth quarter and overtime. So before I even get to what happened in overtime, let me just say this. I was so prepped. And listen, it's going to be a hype podcast. You guys might want to turn down the volume just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and warn you guys right now. But I was whole prepped to come onto the podcast and absolutely lose it. Spaz out, just lose it, because I thought the Pistons were going to lose this game. Now, in that fourth quarter, Killian Hayes scored 6 points in his fourth quarter. He had 2 assists. He was orchestrating everything down the clutch. He put the Pistons up 6 or 7. Back-to-back pull-up jumpers, step-back jumpers. Found Marvin Bagley on a back door. He was orchestrating everything. The Pistons go up 6. It was over. I go to Twitter. I'm spazzing. Killian Hayes then sent Luka Doncic to Dallas. It's over. He's closed this out. He's outplayed Luka in the clutch. I was losing it. And then Dwayne Casey goes completely away from him the rest of the quarter. The Pistons then turned the ball over twice. I don't believe they scored after that. They ended up going to OT, though. I thought it was over. I thought they were going to lose that game because Dallas came all the way back. Luka hit a step-back 3 after missing both his free throws, got the offensive rebound, then hit a step-back 3 immediately after. Thought it was over. I was like, oh, just our luck. It's over. This game's wasted now. And the Killian Hayes game that I thought we were going to get is over because his head coach just hates him for some reason, I guess, and took the ball out of his hands. I'm only joking, okay? I'm only joking, but go along with it. But yeah, I thought the whole Killian Hayes game wasn't going to happen. But then we got overtime. And in overtime, Killian Hayes scored 8 of the Pistons' 14 points with back-to-back step-back triples to end the game and send Luka Doncic home. This was his game. I'm so hype. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for the kid, bro. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of this kid, dude. He ended the game with 22 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, only 2 turnovers. He shot 10 of 13 from the field, 2 of 4 from deep. Bro, what did he shoot? 8 of 9 from inside the 3-point arc? This is his best game as a pro. He's had games where he scored more, like the OKC Thunder game, but that was just a bunch of shots going against a bad team. He had to just do whatever he wants. No, this was against a really good team. Going up against what a lot of people may say is the best player in the NBA right now in Luka Doncic. And Killian Hayes outplayed him in that fourth quarter and overtime and got the Pistons a win. It wasn't just a good game and a loss. Not a good game and a loss, but a good game and a win. Dagger after dagger in overtime. Killian Hayes showed up and showed out in front of the entire audience at LCA and sent them back packing back to Dallas, Texas. Now, look, I'm going to try to settle down a little bit. But I've been telling you guys for weeks. He completely turned the season around. It started 3 weeks ago. He's been playing really well. And I told you guys, I believe like a week and a half ago, I told you guys can see it coming. He's about to have a stretch where he just goes off. He's going to have a stretch where he's scoring 15 plus a game. It's going to end up coming because you can see the way he's playing, the way he's making shots, the way he's feeling himself, the way his confidence is oozing. You can just see it. The way he's playing, you can see that he's working through some things, but he's about to hit a stretch. He's going to hit a stretch soon when he starts putting it completely together. He's averaging like 15 plus a game with everything else he's doing. And that stretch is here. It's arrived. Killian Hayes was getting national attention from everybody. He was the talk on NBA Twitter today. Everyone's like, oh my God, Killian. Oh my, like, bro, I can't tell you guys. I can't explain how happy I am for this kid. Like, obviously, I'm absolutely through the roof because you guys know I've been a Killian believer. But I am so happy for Killian Hayes because he's went through a bunch of BS throughout his career, man. He's went through so much in his career. I went to a game. What was the game? I went to on Sunday against the Cavs. Went to that game. And Killian had a good game against the Cavs. He had 16 points and 8 assists. Two steals, a block. I went to that game. And everyone around me, the majority of people around me, even despite him having a good game, were just screaming obscenities at him, saying some absolutely off-the-wall stuff to the kid. Even when he's having a good game, the majority of this fan base completely turned on him, completely turned on this kid. And the last 3 weeks of his season, he's completely turned his career around. I don't know what else to say, but I'm so happy. He played phenomenal tonight. Absolutely played phenomenal. Against a really good team. Against a team that should have beat the Pistons. They feel like they should beat the Pistons. They're a better team than the Pistons. They should have beat the Detroit Pistons. But Killian Hayes in the fourth quarter in overtime said, no, we're winning this game. Now I'm going to be the reason because of it. Absolutely balled out. Maintained his defense. Just complete aggressiveness that we had never seen in his career. We've seen it build up and build up and build up and build up over the last 3 weeks. And this was it. This was his game. This was the Killian Hayes game. Now, to end this segment off, I just want to say this. I'm going to continue to say what I've said the whole season with him. You're still going to get some bad shooting nights from him. Heck, you might get a bad shooting night next game from him. You might get a bad shooting night next week from him. You might get a bad shooting night 2 weeks from now. You're probably going to get those because he's still not all the way there. But what did I tell you guys at the beginning of the year? He has to play every game the exact same way, whether he's making or missing. And if you play like that and you do it that way, eventually you'll start to see the more consistency with the good games. And what have we seen? We've seen him start to play the exact same way over and over and over, whether he's making or missing, whether he's struggling or not. He's still out there being as aggressive as he should be, and he's shooting the shots that he needs to take. And now we are starting to see more consistent games, more consistently good games, back to back to back. He's stringing back to back to back good games over the last 3 weeks. So again, he may have a bad night next game. He may have a bad night next week or 2 weeks from now. But he's turned the corner. I believe he's absolutely turned the corner. Now, do we know where that corner is going to take him that he's turned? Who knows? But he's not the player you saw the first 2 weeks of the season, the first 10 games. He's not the player you guys watched the first 3-4 months of last year. He's definitely not the player you saw his rookie year. This is Killian Hayes. This player you're watching right now, this is Killian Hayes. And he's here. And he's not a bust. He's not a bust. And he doesn't deserve all the things that have been said about him by his own fan base. He's here. He isn't a bust. And he just had the game of his life. The best game of his career. To the cherry on top of a stretch where he's been playing and completely turned his career around. And beat the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks, I should say. Killian freaking Hayes, man. God, I'm so happy for the kid. So when we come back, I'm not going to make this a whole Killian Hayes podcast. He got the first segment. I got all my energy out. But listen, there's other players that played really well in this game too that I really wanted to talk about. I didn't know that this was going to be the Killian Hayes podcast where I lose my stuff, but I guess it is. But when we come back, we'll talk about some other players that really played well. And trust me, there's a few of them. There's a few guys we got to get to that I saw some really nice things from a lot of these guys. This is a good win for the Pistons overall. Obviously, this is going to be remembered as Killian Hayes' come out party, but this is a good win by the totality of the Detroit Pistons. And I'm really happy with how a lot of these guys played. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. But first, I got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball to soccer, esports, we've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline.net as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. And if you head over to BetOnline.net, you will see they got the favorites for MVP, championship odds, worst team in the league odds, who's going to win Sixth Man of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Head Coach of the Year, all that stuff. If you click on the basketball tab over there at BetOnline.net, you will see it. So make sure you head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, like I said, I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button at the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. But anyways, we're done talking about Killian Hayes because there are other players who played really well. And the first player I want to shout out is Marvin Bagley. Now listen, a singular rebound may not jump off the board to you guys. A singular rebound may not be a highlight play or make NBA or SportsCenter's top 10 reel. It's not going to do that. But Marvin Bagley, first of all, he had 13 rebounds tonight, which is great. But he had 2 rebounds down the stretch of this game that were absolutely big-time rebounds where he got his body on the dude, boxed him out, played physical, and jumped as high as he could to secure this rebound. He was active and attentive on this glass like I've never seen him before. Those 2 rebounds down the stretch that he got were the best plays, I feel like, of his night. They were big-time rebounds. And I know you guys may be thinking, cool, you're going a little overboard. No, I don't think I am. Because in a game where you're going against Luka Doncic, in a game where you're going against the Dallas Mavericks, in a game where no one's really getting any stops because both teams' offense is just going lights out, in a game where the Dallas Mavericks score 125 points, in a game with the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic has 35 points or 25 shots, you need to secure every defensive rebound that you possibly can so they don't get extra opportunities. It's hard to stop them already. But when you do stop them, you have to get that rebound so they don't get another chance to make you pay. And Marvin Bagley did that on 2 key scenarios tonight, or 2 key possessions tonight, where he fought hard, boxed out, just great technique on the box. Like it was. I'm telling you guys, I think those were his 2 best plays of the night. And if he's going to play the 5, if he's going to play with Isaiah Stewart, if they're going to try to make the Isaiah Stewart and Marvin Bagley big man duo work, he has to do stuff like that, and he did that tonight. I'm so happy for him too, because that was big time. Those are big time rebounds, and that's what you need out of your big man if he's going to be your starter. The Detroit Pistons out-rebounded the Dallas Mavericks 30-52. What did I tell you guys in the last podcast? If you're going to run this 2 big man duo, you have to dominate inside. You have to make your presence felt. Now, the Dallas Mavericks aren't a big team. They're not a big team at all. Okay, they're starting Dwight Powell at center and Dorian Finney-Smith at power forward. So they're not a very big team. But that's exactly the kind of team that you want to make sure you let them know they're not a big team. Now, of course, we'd like to see them do that against a bigger team and try battle it out with them. But when you go against a smaller team, you need to make them feel like they are a smaller team. You need to let them know that they are the smaller team every single possession. And the Pistons did that tonight. Specifically, Marvin Bagley and Isaiah Stewart, who combined for 25 rebounds in this game. But Marvin Bagley, I was just so happy with how he rebounded and how physical he was playing on that end. He had 9 defensive rebounds. He fought this game. He had 19 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, 7 of 10 from the field in 34 minutes, and he deserved to play every single minute. The last podcast I said I thought Jalen Duren is the best big man on the roster. I may still feel that way. But he didn't deserve a singular minute over Marvin Bagley down the stretch in that fourth quarter. Marvin Bagley earned every single minute he got, and he played fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. He played his tail off. Physical, effort-wise, he was exactly what you needed. And he played bigger than he was. And that's what he needs to do. He played bigger than he was. So I wanted to give Marvin Bagley his shout-outs. This was a really damn good game from Marvin Bagley. So happy for him. Another person I want to shout out, well, real quick, Bojan, obviously. Bojan doesn't get much talk on the podcast because we know what Bojan is, and he's not really the focus point of the team. But he had a really good game tonight, obviously. He had 30 points, 10 of 14 from the field, 5 of 6 from deep. He played lights out offensively. He was a big reason, obviously, that they won this game. He was going tit for tat with Luka. So he played phenomenal. But we know Bojan's phenomenal offensively. Maybe we should talk about him. If you guys think we should talk about Bojan a little bit more, let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter. I feel like I felt like that Bojan's not really the talking point of the team. The focus is the younger guys, and we know what Bojan is, so that's why we don't talk about him as much. But if you guys would like to hear more about him, let me know for sure. But we're going to move on and go to the next guy that I want to give a ton of credit, and that's Isaiah Stewart. Now, look, Isaiah Stewart went 4 of 12 from the field tonight. He did not shoot very well. He shot 1 of 4 from deep. Did not shoot very well. But he had 12 rebounds, which were big time. Hustled on defense. And this is the big thing I want to give him credit for. There was 2 dribble drives that he had that were the most impressive plays I've seen from him in his career. Not dribble drives off the little fake DHO after you do it 1,000 times and you catch someone off guard. Like legit power forward, the forward position, kind of catch, pump fake, attack a closeout, and dribble drive that actually matters and is going to have to happen if you're going to play the 4 in every half-court offense, routinely. Those ones matter. And he did that twice tonight, and they looked really nice. One of them he missed, but the other one looked really nice. Now, again, the Mavericks are not a big team. They're not a big team. But that doesn't matter. Because like I said, Isaiah Stewart made them feel like the smaller team. And when he put that ball on the ground and he drove to the rim, he put his whole, how much does he weigh? 240? He put every ounce of every pound of his body in to that defender, and they felt it. And he was able to finish above them and through them. And I was really happy with that. So again, he didn't shoot very well from the floor. He didn't. But you saw progress in areas that he has to have progress in if he's actually going to try to make this 4 work. And I was super happy with that. And the big thing I was really happy with was just how much him and Marvin Bagley fought on the boards. 25 rebounds between them. I think that was one of the, obviously Bojan and Killian Hayes. But I think the 25 rebounds between those 2 guys is a low-key big reason why they won the game. Like, probably top 3. He goes Killian, Bojan, and I'd probably go there. Because that was big time. How many offensive rebounds? Let me go. How many offensive rebounds did Dallas have? They only had 4 offensive rebounds in this game. The Pistons had 13. So again, against a team that gets 86 shots up, they shot 53% from the field, 41% from deep. They got 29 free throws. You're not stopping them very much. So when they do miss, you have to make it count. And 4 offensive rebounds, you got to go. Great. Absolutely great. So big ups to both Isaiah Stewart and Marvin Bagley. They played a fantastic duo game tonight in that front court. The Pistons front court just flat out outplayed the Mavericks. Bojan, Isaiah Stewart, and Marvin, they just completely destroyed Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell. Destroyed it. Now, Christian Wood did come in and start to light them up a little bit, but it wasn't enough. And what the effort they put out there was enough to win the game. So I'm giving it up for the Pistons front court. They played really well. Played really well in this game. When we come back, Jaden Ivey made his return. And he had some key plays down the stretch as well. We'll talk about that when we come back. But first, you guys got to hear from some of our lovely sponsors. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Big win for the Detroit Pistons, man. They beat the Dallas Mavericks at home. This was big time, man. It really was. I think this was probably the most fun game of the year. And was it a lot to do with it being Killian Hayes going off? Yes, it did. It did have a lot to do with it. But overall, I feel like even outside that, if you're not just a Killian stan or a Killian fan, this was one of the more, I think it was probably the funnest game of the year. I don't know if I'd say it was the best performance by the Pistons because their defense wasn't that good, and they had a pretty good performance. I'm forgetting what team it was, but like a week and a half ago, we came on the podcast and talked about how they played one of the more complete games of the year. I think it was against Denver. I could be mistaken. I don't know if it was their best all-around game, but it was probably the most fun game they've had, and it's up there. It could be the best overall game they've had, too. So, big win from them. And we talked about Killian Hayes. We talked about Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Stewart, Bojan Bogdanovic. But Jaden Ivey made his return tonight, too. And he did shoot well from the floor. He shot 6 of 15 from the floor, 40%. 2 of 7 from deep, 28%. 2 of 4 from the free throw line, 50%. And he had a key turnover in the fourth quarter when they went away from Killian Hayes. And that was probably going to be one of my talking points when I got here. I would have been angry. But he had a bad turnover at the end of the fourth quarter, too. But that dude does not lack confidence. And he came into that overtime period and made 2 big plays, two big-time plays. Drove to the rim, double clutch layup, and then hit a catch-and-shoot 3. Big-time plays by Jaden Ivey in that overtime. And you love to see that because he wasn't having a good night shooting-wise. He was turning the ball over a little bit too much. But there's one thing that you can count on with Jaden Ivey, and that's him not shying away from any moment or lacking any kind of confidence. And he showed why in that overtime period. So I give him some props. First game back. He came off the bench in this game. I don't think he's going to come off the bench moving forward. I think it was just kind of get him, acclimated back to being, back in the lineup. He did start the second half, but that's because Isaiah Livers, unfortunately, in a game that was so fun, he did leave in the first quarter with a shoulder injury after running into a moving screen. We don't know how long he's going to be out. We haven't gotten any update on him yet. He did not return. So I don't know. I think Jaden Ivey's going to return to the starting lineup, but maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. I think he's going to return next game. I think it was just trying to get him acclimated back to being in the lineup after being out for so long. But yeah, Jaden Ivey, big time plays down the stretch. Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey in the overtime. Actually, you know what? I didn't even check this. I should have checked this before we recorded. I just now thought about it. Did Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes score all of the Pistons' points in overtime? Marvin Bagley had 1 free throw. Outside that, Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes scored 13 of the Pistons' 14 points in overtime. The Pistons' backcourt showed up and showed out when it mattered most. Against Luka freaking Doncic. I'm going to say it again. Against Luka Doncic. Big time, bro. Big time. Big time game from those two guys. And then we'll leave it off with Jalen Duren, who, because other guys had such great games, he's probably going to fall a little bit behind everybody. People aren't going to mention it. But I thought he played really good too. 5 of 7 from the field, 11 points. He only had 2 rebounds. He needs to be more active on the glass. He had 2 steals. And then there was one play he had where in the second half when Christian Wood was absolutely rolling, he was going crazy. I believe he had scored like 7 straight on Isaiah Stewart. And Jalen Duren was brought into the game. Christian Wood beat Isaiah Stewart. I'm sorry. He beat Isaiah Stewart off the dribble from like the high post area. And Jalen Duren rotated. And you guys, we watched Christian Wood. He's athletic. He's like Mr. Fantastic when he jumps. Not only does he get high off the ground, his arms extend like 20,000 feet. And he just dunks over you. But Jalen Duren rotated. And it almost felt like that Christian Wood was scared to go up on him. And Jalen Duren did the most perfect. I'm bringing up like stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. Like the 2 rebounds by Marvin Bagley show up in the box score. I was raving about those, and those aren't highlight plays to everybody, but that was highlight plays to me. Here's another play I thought was absolutely beautiful to watch. I was so happy seeing this one. Jalen Duren just executed the most perfect verticality possible and set Christian Wood to the ground. Christian Wood tried to elevate on him, tried to go through him, and Jalen Duren just put all of his strength, went vertical, and bodied him and sent him. He had no chance of finishing it, and the Pistons went out on a fast break and got a fast break layup. Jalen Duren, that play right there got me hyped. I stood up my seat. I was like, bro, that right there is that's exactly what you do. That right there is exactly what you do to protect the rim. And that's a rookie. That's an 18-year-old rookie doing that. So another big time play by Jalen Duren. Pistons got multiple big time plays from all of their young guys. All their young guys, I feel like, played a part in this game. Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Livers was 2 of 2 before he left. Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren. Even Kevin Knox, I thought, had a nice stint. He didn't have nothing on the box score crazy, but I thought his stint was fine. The only player that I don't feel like really, kind of struggled this game was Sadiq. But we're not. This is a fun podcast. This is nothing to. You shouldn't mention anything bad at all from this game. Shouldn't have any kind of negative. So we're going to act like that game from Sadiq didn't even happen. Fun game for the Pistons. They win this game, and they continue to play really well. The Pistons over the last, 8 games have been playing really well. And this is without Cade Cunningham. When Cade went down, we thought it was over. We thought they were by far going to be the worst team in the league. And they've played good games, close games since what? Since the Raptors game? You want to go all the way back to the second Celtics game? Since then, they've just been playing really good basketball. Outside the blowout to the New York Knicks, which was unacceptable. But after that, or outside of that, they played really good basketball. And you're seeing guys develop and get better. So I'm having a lot of fun watching this team, despite the fact they're not winning all the games. They've only won 3 of them over the last 9 games, I believe. It's not like they're winning all the games. But you're seeing development. You're seeing fun games. You're seeing happiness from these guys. You're seeing these guys play for each other. It's extremely fun and happy to watch. And I'm enjoying myself, despite some of the losses. So I hope you guys are as well. And I hope you guys especially enjoyed this game against the Dallas Mavericks. Killian Hayes sent Luka Doncic back to Dallas, man. He did it. Man, that's fun to say, man. I love it. That's all I've got for you guys today, though. Thank you guys for listening today. Thank you for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on our podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel, Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. Until next time, go Pistons. Stay safe, everybody. Next time, hopefully soon, this jersey right here in this jersey frame, it will be a Killian Hayes jersey soon. I promise you guys. Killian Hayes' jersey will be in there. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.